Phil Falcone, the author of Addicted to Real Estate, Why I Can't Stop and Why You Should Start, with his out-of-the-box ideas. So what do you got for us today, Phil?
Well, today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite theories, the theory of association.
Association.
Okay, I'm going to take you back to my 20s. I have an aunt in Florida who sent me a motivational tape. And on it I heard about the theory of association. At the time, total news to me. And basically what the theory said is that you, no matter how strong of a person you are, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Okay, so if everybody you're hanging around with drinks beer and goes bowling 3 times a week, chances are your waistline, your weight, and your bowling average are all going to go up. Okay? But the idea was behind it that you want to try to, carefully screen the people that you're hanging around with and try to hang around with people who are going places that you want to go. And right away, as soon as I heard that theory, it was like ring-a-ding. I mean, bells went off in my head, and I said, that's it, that's me. That's what I should be doing. That's what's wrong with me, or at least one of the things wrong with me. At the time, I was in my 20s. And so I immediately started to look at my base of friends, and I realized that I was going to have to disassociate with almost every one of them. I basically, after really reviewing it, I realized I had one friend left. He was barely qualified to remain on the list, and he had a whole group of people that he probably should disassociate with, but that's his problem. And so I immediately began to separate myself from some of these people who may not be having such a positive impact on my life. It doesn't mean you have to ignore them. You can still associate with them to a certain level, but you want to consciously spend less time with them. And then what I did is I searched out for some new people to hang around with. And my buddy, the only guy who was left on my buddy list, he had one buddy who happened to be a realtor. And he was experiencing some success as a young man. So I called him up and I told him about the theory of association. I'd love to associate with him. He got a big kick out of it. And I also needed to buy a piece of real estate. So he took me around and he helped me buy a duplex, which turned out to be a great investment property for me. After that purchase, he took me out to dinner to thank me for buying the property, and he said, hey, I got another deal I want to show you. I said, well, what are you talking about? I'm completely broke. You know that. We barely could put together the funds we needed to buy this house. And he said, well, what makes you think you need money to buy real estate? And at that meeting, he taught me a technique to buy houses with no money down, which I later twisted and tweaked and made it my own, and I turned that technique into something I call the all money down technique. And immediately I began to acquire properties at a rate of 4 to 6 residential properties a year. And I can literally now, I'm 44, I can look back, 18 years ago, 17 years ago, to that silly little audio tape that came to me from my aunt, and it had an almost immediate impact on me. Every time I publicly speak, I love to share that story with people, because what I'm hoping happens is that somebody in the audience hears that story and it has the same effect on them.
It does. And you know what? I've heard that story different ways. And you know what? I'll be honest with you, and I'll say it right on the air. The reason that me and you are getting along so good is, as soon as I met you, I knew you were somebody that I wanted to meet and add to my database and my circle of friends, and in that kind of association. Because I business coach agents, and I tell them, listen, you got this. They'll say, I run into agents and they'll say, well, I don't have 100 friends. I say, yes, you do. And if you don't, you got to go and meet people. But be careful who you are associating with. In Keller Williams training, which they are a training and consulting company, they talk about your income. Your income's going to be based on who you're hanging around with. In the end, it's like it's all association. So I think in networking's key. I meet people today, I live by that same rule all the time. I want to meet this person because I want to know that person, and he's got 100 friends.
Well, some people think that the idea sounds almost snobbish or superficial.
Yeah, like you're being nasty,
right,
and getting rid of your friends, but you're not.
It's not like that at all. All you're trying to do is make yourself better, improve yourself,
Right.
move forward financially, and many other ways that you can gain from being around quality people. Dick Vermeil used to tell his young football players, listen, life is really very simple. Just surround yourself with good people, and great things are going to happen to you.
Right. I agree.
If you like that tip, please check out my book, Addicted to Real Estate, Why I Can't Stop and Why You Should Start. It's filled with dozens of ideas in there, much like this one, and you can check it out at addictedtorealestate.com.
Thank you, Phil, for sharing your creative tips with us. Coming up next, questions and answers.
And with that, you're listening to Good News in Real Estate, all positive, all the time.